Hello everybody and welcome back to Guys on Gaffr. My name is Joel and Abhishek is with me today, and as you can tell by the different coloured background, it is a Super League episode today. It's been a little while since we did one. I think it was the international break when we did, and a lot has happened, so we've got a lot to talk about. But first, how are you doing, Abhishek?
Yeah, doing fine. A bit of a sticky weather in my country, so really it gets really sweaty, and the hands are a little bit sweaty since the afternoons. So hopefully it dies down tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Apart from that, I don't want to talk about the Liverpool's first game and the things that had happened, but overall, in terms of fantasy football, having a decent run out because there is no sudden benching, weird benchings that were happening in the midweeks and the other game last weekend. So, yeah, it's good. Got a nice round of fixtures. The Cricket World Cup is here, so very excited about it. And yeah, doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, the weekend's been all right, but Everton losing to Luton was fun. Just when I thought we'd turned a corner and things were starting to look up, we throw in a stinker like that. So I do think we're going to turn things around, but it's just brought back all the die sharp narratives, which just annoy me. So yeah, and that aside, I think I've had a pretty bad fantasy week in all games apart from the championship game. But even in the championship game, I sold Rowe for Dan James on midfield dynamos, which cost me 18 points. So even though I rose like 300 places, but I still managed to throw 18 points away with my transfer. So it's quite a funny one, really. So yeah, I have to say I've had a bit of fantasy fatigue. Yesterday, I was like, it's too much fantasy football, too many games, and they've all gone rubbish. But anyway, it will all be fine. Midweek games in the championship game to come, so it's fine. It'll be all good fun. Yeah, so yeah, all is fine. Let's go into how we did in Game Week 7 in the Super League, and also because Game Week 6 was such a significant game week, it won't be on the screen, but maybe, Abhishek, if you just mention how many points you got in Game Week 7, in Game Week 6 rather. So yeah, your team is on the screen right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about Game Week 7 first. My overall was active because now is the time to attack those easy run of fixtures before the second set of boosts come, and a lot of teams have easy run of fixtures, especially in the Bundesliga and the French, and I think PSG also has a nice run. Then I think Syria A also it's time to it is time that some of the teams in the Syria A is getting tricky fixture run, so tend to avoid those fixtures and tend to have target the Bundesliga guys majorly. I think I have what 3 to 4 guys. Oh, I might be wrong here. I think I have what 1, 2, 3 guys, 3, 4 guys from Bundesliga. So clearly, I'm targeting the Bundesliga now till game week 12. So scored 49. Majority of the points came from, ironically, Serie A players because Soma got 7, Kavicha got 6 points. So 15 points from those two. Cancelo got 9 points, and the rest were those decent numbers of ranging from 2 to 4 because my two defenders got a half clean sheet. My midfielders got 2 and 3 points. Forwards also got 4, 2, 2 respectively. So yeah, 49 points I got in the end. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Expected a bit more, but when weird results happen, in weekend, you can't expect to get those points. But yeah, overall I'm happy with the team. Now, I think the double game week 6, I played the budget buster. The got well amongst all those weird benchings in one game, playing at one game, giving yellow cards, horrible defending. I get to score 134 points. I took a -8, so it rounded up to 126, and literally it shoot me up to what 70 places from where I sorry, from where I was before the start of the game week. Uh, Expected a bit more from that budget buster team, but when guys get benched, you can't do anything about it. So you have to go with the flow. So got not overly or not overjoyed, but reasonably happy with the score I had, and I think my target till game. I mean, when the first set of boosts end, I think my target will be to stay in the top, stay in within sights in the top 100, within sights of top 100. I think I'm on 252, 252nd as of now. So yeah, hoping to hold on to that and moving forward, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, that overall team's a lot better than the points you scored. You've been unlucky this week, I have to say. But hopefully it will pay off in the long run. My team then. So I also played Budget Buster in game week 6, having overhauled into it. And I took a -4 in that week and kind of riskily removed Osherman and Savic for João Felix and Tiao, with the idea of just really maximising the budget players and getting that extra budget player in. And I got quite lucky in that Osherman missed a penalty in, I think, the first game, so I was quite fortunate. But overall, it was a good move, and it did pay off, and it paid back the hit really nicely. And I got 161 -4, which took me from about, I think, 212th to 91st. 208th to 91st, so that was decent. Just a few things I wish could have gone better. I mean, I was a bit disappointed that kind of triples and even like league boosts, were able to kind of match Budget Buster. I was really hoping Budget Buster would beat a lot of those boosts, but I was expecting a little bit more from players like, obviously, Alberto. he scored a goal the previous game week, and watching Lazio was like watching paint dry. Like, watching Lazio was just they're still just awful. So like Alberto was disappointing. Having Traore over Tierney was a big swing because Tierney got an assist and Traore got subbed at half time against Valencia after being booked for what was a fair challenge. I was watching the game. So yeah, there were a few things that went against, but and like Baranechea, however you say his name, Sociedad put in only 2 points in the whole game week as well. So certain things could have gone better, but overall, like, it was fine. Yeah, obviously a big green arrow, so yeah. And then this week, 69 -4, as you can see on the screen. Trippier's the big highlight. Obviously, he was benched in game week 6 for his 17 points because he's not a budget player, so that was fun. But yeah, he got me a nice 13 this week. He was a good pickup on overhaul, actually, because a lot of people won't have him. Leao with the 14. I brought in Kane for Immobile, and I sold Bellingham for Kvaratskhelia. So that went well. I mean, bringing in Kane was fine, but the Bellingham move really backfired. I think that was like 12 points down the drain, maybe even more. I mean, I thought Bellingham's data was a lot worse. Underlying data was a lot worse than Kvaratskhelia, so I took the risk. I don't massively regret it moving forwards, but it was a punishing move. Viced Mbappe, kept him because I saw he could have been fit, and he did play 90 minutes, just got booked, and obviously blanked. So yeah, bit of a red gone.
Yeah, I think when you have this forward line of Kane and Mbappe, kind of sacrifice some money in the midfield. Not going to own every players, but yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky navigating out of that budget team at the minute, because I really need to sell like Alberto, ideally, and get a better midfielder, but it's quite hard to do that. And find someone good. I need to basically, I think, downgrade Alphonso Davies, because I don't think he's cutting it at the moment at that price. So that's probably my route, but it means another -4. So yeah, but it's not. But I did set it up in such a way that it's just I'm not far off a really a good team, even though I've just played Budget Buster. So it's the overhaul has been absolutely fine in that sense. So yeah, it's down to 149th, but still got triple to play at some point. So hopefully we will inside the top 100. But what I've noted is I'm on 628 total points. Do you want to have a guess at how many points the leader of this game has at the moment? Without looking.
let's say around the ballpark of 850.
Second place has 846, so good guess. But first place has 920 points, has a 75-point lead after 7 game weeks, and he's like nearly 300 points ahead of me. And I bet you can't guess who they vice captain. Oh, she didn't be vice captain. He vice captained Martinez, of course. And I've just been realizing, it's not a complaint because it's just how it is, and it's kind of the beauty of the Super League game. It's such a swingy game with someone like Lautaro Martinez scoring 4 goals off the bench. It's like the swings are just huge in this game.
Yeah,
But that's the way it is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, two things to say, because that's too early to have a lead around about 75 to 100 points, because it's only game week 7 and or 8, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I just logged into his team, and he has played all 3 boosts. All 3 boosts. So we have 1 game week in hand to basically cut his gap, at least halved his gap. And
We're not halving that gap though. It's 300
will
points.
bound to have,
It's 300 points.
yeah, at least half by the time game week 12 hits, at least half the gap. If you get close to it, then slowly, because every week he's not going to have that bit of a dream start, because you get to have those weird, and Lautaro getting benched was classic example. But who knew when he hit 4 goals in second half?
So funny.
That's weird. Yeah. So that's once in a life, once in a season kind of number.
Yeah.
So once in a game in a season kind of number. So it will not happen regularly. So yeah, but kudos to him, because he stick to his players, and that has returned to him really well.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff, really. I feel like, definitely we're not winning this game this year, because I do think that's too big of a gap, 300 points even now, unless we have a crazy boost. But yeah, it's quite the haul. Let's just touch on David's team. I haven't got his game week 6 up. I do have his game week 7. He got 75 points. Also, it's small red arrow, I think, this week. He actually missed the deadline, which is why his captain is João Felix. But he got away with it with Haaland blanking. So, yeah, he may have dropped some points if he was going to put a vice on like a Bellingham or a Leao, but actually wasn't the end of the world, to be honest. So 75 points is not too bad, and he's 151st. So just the 2 places below me. We're probably on the same points. So yeah. So that's that. Right, we're basically going to deal with, in this episode, the upcoming...
Hold on. Before we move on, the number 1 ranked player in the Gaffr Super League, he played the Budget Buster in game week 1. He scored 237. Nobody has scored 200 plus points in a Budget Buster this season.
That's ridiculous.
At least in this set of boosts. So if you score 237, you're bound to have that much of amount of a difference, because you played Budget Buster and you scored what, 150 points?
I got 157 net in a double game week. He's got 237 in a single game week.
So that's 70 points already he got ahead of you.
Mental.
Similar to mine as well. So
Rodri, you got a goal and assist.
Yeah.
Okay,
he had Rodri, he had Doku.
Isaac.
So everyone has scored,
So
barring
funny.
his defenders. Sar has scored. NGI, I think, has also scored. NGI got an assist. Depay scored. Wilson scored. Isaac scored. Sar and NGI got an assist each. Rodri got an assist and a goal. Doku scored. So it's, yeah, I mean, credit to him.
It's a positive variance right there.
He basically going gung-ho from game week 1. So that's a nice approach, but we have taken a different approach. So let's see. We still got 30 games to go.
Oh yeah,
30,
more than
30
30 game weeks to go. 31 game
Let's
weeks.
see.
I will just say as well
Let's
that
go.
current overall rank 3 scored 142 minus 4 this game week, no boost. And here we are, like 60, 70 points, and this guy's got
Like
142 minus 4.
uh,
Martinez, captain, Liao, Bellingham,
we
Brandt, Trippier, Pope,
look,
Osherman,
we shouldn't.
Kubo.
I mean, I am
So
not surprised because
it's ridiculous.
when Gaffr Super League season one took place, I was the recipient of a fair few amount of points like this. Who knew my all the defenders in my park the bus have scored? Who knew? Who
Yes.
knew I would
Well,
have gotten a game week one rank I think in a triple. So these things happen. So just have to have that sort of
yeah.
that rub of the green to your side to get these points. So yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It's just that I don't fall too far so that I
Yeah.
couldn't close the gap.
Indeed. Indeed.
But it are early days, so that can happen.
Yeah, still very, very early days indeed. It's over 30 game weeks to go. So yeah, we're going to now deal with basically the next 5 game weeks up to game week 12 when the boost reset. I think the boost reset is going to be a really key moment because there's doubles in game week 14, 16, and then 17's a big double for the Premier League and blank, and then you're kind of entering the Christmas period with all the blanks. So like with those 3 double game weeks, probably going to be playing at least 2 of our boosts, in, if not all 3 of those boosts, quite early on in that set. There's no point talking about it until we get there and we see what boosts we get. So, yeah, we're just going to deal with what's in front of us the next 5 game weeks. No blanks, no doubles. And I guess a lot of it is about attacking the fixtures and, just trying to identify which premiums to have and stuff like that. Now we've kind of got boosts out of the way. I mean, I've still got to play triple, so I think we'll talk about triple as well because I won't be the only one as well that hasn't played it yet. Where should we start? Should we start with fixtures? In terms of good runs, who stands out to you in terms of players we need to maybe target and teams we need to target just because they've got particularly strong fixtures?
Yeah, I think basically I have 5 options: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Newcastle is the number 1 team in the fixture run, and rightly so. So Newcastle players should be on the agenda of many Gaffer managers. Defense shouldn't be the agenda apart from Trippier because the rest of the guys we don't know yet about the situations. So apart from Trippier, none of them is assured of a start. Maybe you could look at Shar, but he may rotate with Burn as well. So you have to be aware of that. Trippier should start. Botman looks like going to be missing for a month, so
Not
he's
ideal.
certainly out of question. And I have a headache. Yeah, so I have a headache as well. Gordon seems like an interesting pick on the midfield, so that you could spend elsewhere.
But he's got himself
Apart from
suspended
that,
for
I
the
think
next
the
game.
forward two options.
Just to mention, sorry on Gordon, he has.
I,
But yeah,
yeah,
I
so
don't rate him as an option,
it's
but I see
Isaac
people rate him.
Wilson. Yeah, it's he just enables us to spend a bit more on the other positions, and with the fixtures they have, it seems like a logical option. But I guess whoever is not going Gordon, I'm not saying that it's a bad move. Second one is RB Leipzig. They have a decent run of fixtures, still 12, and they face the sides that finished on. Apart from I think Freiburg, I do not remember where Freiburg finished last year. Maybe 5th or 6th, but they have a decent run of fixtures.
They play all of the
Where
bottom 4 in this next run up to game week 12. Bochum,
yeah,
Darmstadt, and
so
Mainz.
yeah, Darmstadt. I think they came. Yeah, Mainz, Cologne also they play.
Cologne,
So
sorry, yeah.
RB. So number 1 Newcastle, number 2 RB Leipzig, number 3 is PSG. It can't move away from PSG. Uh, and number 4 is Bayern Munich. But Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich face off in game week 11. So that's one of the tough games. And uh, we saw how Bayern Munich play against RB Leipzig. So just beware. Get don't start the defenders because something is not clicking at their defense. If you have Kane, don't sell him. If you have Sane, don't sell him. But if you have Davies, you have to think about something else because Bayern Munich is not defensively good right now. They're
Hmm.
conceding goals.
Yeah.
So that's number four. Number three PSG. Number four Bayern Munich, and number five, it it is a weird one, but Inter. The two teams for fifth spot, Inter, and I know it will be a weird one to say it, but Man United has an easier run.
They do.
uh, I know it's a weird one. It may be a bit biased as well, but looking at the fixtures point of view, they have a decent run of fixtures. I'm not talking about Man City because two players already we have, and I think in this game, especially in this game, you can go without Haaland.
Yeah.
Alvarez seems to be fine. If you want, if you get him, hold him. But if you can move Haaland now for Mbappe, Kane, because those teams, the PSG, Bayern, those have a great run of fixtures. Man City has a great run of fixtures, but compared to those two teams have a much more easier run than Man City now. And also, I think Man City has Arsenal away, United away, Chelsea away in the next three, in 8, 10, and 12. Only Brighton and Bournemouth home, which are also Brighton is also a tough game,
Although they are conceding a lot of
although they
goals at the
will win it.
moment, so I would say Brighton's quite a good fixture at the
Yeah,
moment. But yes, aside from that, yeah,
yeah,
you're
in
spot
terms
on.
of goals, yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, all those tough fixtures are away from home. Although they're going to be winning those fixtures, but away from home, it's a difficult one to predict
Hmm.
as compared to the fixtures that Bayern Munich and PSG has now. So, yep, I think time to target those players from these five teams. It should be a priority now.
Yeah,
What do
and
you
then in
think?
terms of the assets then from those teams, I guess if we start with Newcastle, so yeah, we talked. I guess we talked about that Trippier, maybe one of the defenders that's not Botman, but I don't know whether the Botman being missing is going to really negatively impact them. And then Isaac or Wilson's tricky because you don't know who's going to start with European football at the moment. So I'd be tempted to say it's a no-go just because they're going to rotate. So it's really defensively you're looking.
Yep.
RB Leipzig, there's easily three good options there. You know, there's obviously Xavi Simons, who has been overperforming his numbers, or at least he did in the first few weeks, and he's kind of regressed a bit now. But he's still a good pick in a good
Mm,
fixture and at his price. Raum is probably the best option from a defensive point of view. He could be great. And
yeah.
then I guess I don't. Do you know when Olmo's coming back?
I think there is nothing as of Olmo news from the Leipzig camp. I will look at their Champions League presser
Mm,
tomorrow. They haven't had their Champions League presser yet. So I think Olmo might come back after the second international break. So
yeah.
maybe 10, 11, 12. Yeah, not before that. But I think Openda seems to be
Mm,
the third option if you're looking at,
yes.
even though Olmo comes back, because Openda is really looking like a really good buy for them, especially he can fill the boots that Nkunku left for Leipzig. So I think Openda is a much more preferred pick, even if Olmo comes back.
Yeah, I'd like a Pender actually. I need to replace João Felix at some point, and a Pender is exactly the sort of guy I'd be quite keen on. At what 8 million or so, just because those fixtures are so good. I'm not sure how I'd get there, but um, he absolutely stands out for me. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, in terms
Uh,
of what was the other team you said? Man United. I mean Bruno. I started with him in this game. He's great
yeah,
for bonus in this game because he's a key
apart from
pass
him,
monster. So I think he's one to
yeah,
consider
apart
if I've
from
got him.
him, yeah, definitely he's the one to consider, I think. And maybe an outside shout I'm giving on Holland. Rashford is not looking likely of his best, but something is going on. I think he needs a consistent run of games. Confidence, I think it's low because he's not getting those goals, and he's happening to
Mm.
create something of a telepathy with Hoyland a bit more. That's I think it's affecting him quite a bit. So I think an outside shout of Hoyland maybe from United, but it's either Bruno or no one. If you're not going for any other pick, do
Yeah.
not go anywhere near the defense. Because uh, we are conceding goals like left, right, and center. I
Mm.
mean, it's bad at the moment in terms of play. I think from Bayern Munich, Kane, Sane, you can look at.
Hmm.
Other than that, I don't think you should look at anywhere else from Bayern Munich because these two are the only attacking options that's going to score goals, I think, or assists. Maybe you have Davies, but you have to keep an eye on Bayern's defense as well because it's not clicking. Something is missing, I guess. And from PSG, Asensio would have been a nice pick in the midfield position if you're not keen on Mbappe, if you're not keen on selling Haaland, and if you are not keen on getting Mbappe, then I think Asensio would have been a nice option. But I think he's out till the second international November international break. I guess he's not coming back. Maybe you can look at Colomwani and Ramos, but with Mbappe being back, they are going to rotate. So that's an issue as well. Defensively, if you look at Hakimi, is the only option if you are looking at from the defense. So I think these are the options if you're overhauling or if you're going to look forward for the next 5 game weeks. I think these
Mm.
are the few options you can look at from the 5 teams.
I'd like Hakimi if he wasn't a
Anything to
million
add?
more expensive than players like Di Lorenzo and Trippier and DiMarco, who are all at like 6, because they're
Mm.
all about the same. I mean, they're all on a very similar number of points. They've all got good attacking threat, but I think and maybe he's a bit more nailed Hakimi than like DiMarco, for example. He's obviously had a benching or two, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's potentially one that's just a little expensive. The other team you didn't mention, who I think have some good fixtures, they basically have 3 good fixtures, are Napoli.
Mm.
They've got Fiorentina, which is it's okay,
Mm.
not easy. Verona, AC Milan, but
Mm.
then they've got Salernitana and Empoli, who are both kind of struggling a bit. So they've got
Mm.
kind of 3 nice fixtures, and then 2 other kind of home games which are trickier. And I think um, I'm really bad at saying his name, Kvaratskhelia, whatever. If that's how you pronounce it,
Mm.
his numbers are really, really good. He did get an early sub at the weekend, but I think he could be a very, very good option, and shouldn't be overlooked. I guess he's probably not being overlooked generally because he did so well in the double, but I
Yeah.
think he could be great. And Osimhen, I'm not sure about Osimhen because obviously there's so much uncertainty about his situation with all of that debacle with the
Yeah.
social media posts. But
Mm. No, I think if you look at Napoli's points this season, most of the points have come from either Osimhen or their or other midfield players who is not Kavicha. Kavicha has fired for I think 2 games and 3 games out. 2 games he has scored 17 and 10 points. I think came off the bench in the first game, and in the double he scored 17 points.
mhm.
Apart from that, Kavicha he has been quite quiet. Osimhen, we know Osimhen what's going on around with Osimhen. Uh, if you look, yeah, Napoli has a decent run, but it's the options that are limiting me from mentioning Napoli, especially because we don't know what sort of Napoli. It's not Spalletti's Napoli, it's Rudy Garcia's Napoli, and Rudy Garcia's team do not tend to score that many goals. So I'm a bit worried about Napoli going forward because they're not, and even though they're scoring goals, unlikely heroes are coming up, the likes of Politano and other guys, Otis Guard, Politano. These are the guys that are looking, yeah, and the main guys, they are not scoring the points. So I don't think you could really trust other players to get your points ahead of these players that we mentioned. I mean, Di Lorenzo is fine, and Di Lorenzo
He's great,
should
yeah.
kick you along.
Great option.
And yeah, apart from him, I don't think too much rotation, too much not uncertainty, not continuity, somewhere between. Because every now and then there is a change in a position. There is other players that are coming up, they're scoring the goals. So it's a bit weird to call them now. That's yeah, they are going to be very decent, and so yeah, that's why I didn't mention, because I certainly don't know what sort of lineups everyone is going. Napoli is going to bring out in the
But
next
still,
game week.
Kvaratskhelia should start most games now.
Yeah,
Osimhen probably, I think he was probably
yeah,
just rested at the weekend, to be honest, and probably should start. So I think that the main
yeah,
guys and Di Lorenzo are looking pretty good for Mins. It's just the people
yeah.
around them that maybe there's a bit
And
less certainty.
yeah, I think another player, if you can keep an eye on, is Zielinski. He seems to have
Interesting.
the penalties as well after the debacle that Osimhen had.
Yes.
So there's an interesting that's an interesting choice if you're looking for, because he's much more lesser priced than Kavicha and Osimhen. I think he's 6 point something. So he can also be a difference maker, because he seems to be the leading point scorer in the midfield from Napoli in the Super League so far.
Yeah.
I think. I think
From
so.
Napoli.
Yeah, you can look. So these are the options. Yeah, from these are the options you can look at from Napoli.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Have you still got to play triple triple? Yeah. Is that right?
Yep.
I was just thinking we could have a look at
I still.
that. Now, I've got a couple of thoughts. I mean, this is the thing. It depends on what premiums you want to play it with. So, I am going to assume that I'm playing it with Kane and Mbappe as my two premiums, and then I'll kind of need to have a look at what else is around. Who are your premiums?
Okay, I'm getting Mbappe, so
You're getting
that's
Mbappe,
one of my premiums, and the other one is who is the other one? Hold on.
Unless you're going to kind of transfer in.
Yeah, yeah. I think apart from Junior, Vinicius Junior is my main premium player. Apart from I have Haaland. Haaland will be Mbappe. So I am thinking about getting another decent premium player, especially a forward one, by selling Vinicius Junior. If Vinicius Junior continues to
Yeah.
be poor in the center forward and playing the center forward position each week, then I'm moving straight back to Bellingham and taking those 1.5 million and investing in the forward line, because I need a replacement for Felix, as you said. So Felix to Openda might be a decent one if I'm not too keen on getting Newcastle forwards,
Yeah.
because I'm getting Mbappe for sure. I think I don't have that much money to go towards Kane, so I might have to settle down for Sane, which is a bit tricky because Kane seems to be on the penalties as well. So Sane, getting to Sane and not going to Kane is is a tricky one, but that's much more difficult decisions to make for me, when which week I'm going to play triple triple first. Then what are the moves that I require to move to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about triple triple? Which week are you
Well,
trying to play?
I was thinking maybe 10, because Bayern Munich have got they've got Darmstadt and PSG have
Darmstadt
got
at home.
Brest. But I think what I think we could do actually, I want to go through all the weeks up to game week 12 and just call out the best fixtures and the options you could do triple triple on for that week, because I think there's quite a few. Like every single week almost is viable depending on which kind of players you're looking at. So, for example, let's have a look at game week 8. Game week 8 is one where you could maybe choose a Leipzig player like a Pender, because they're at home to VfL Bochum. And then the kind of premium options that you're kind of looking at, this is probably one of the worst weeks for it, to be honest, because PSG have got Rennes away, City have got Arsenal away, Bayern Munich have got Freiburg at home. Now Freiburg's defensive stats are all right as well. I'm going to have a look at like the expected goals conceded for all the teams. So probably not play it in 8, but 9 is where things get quite interesting. Bayern Munich play Mainz, who are who've got kind of 9.3 expected goals conceded from 6 games, and they're kind of lower mid-table in the Bundesliga for expected goals conceded. PSG have got Strasbourg. Now, Strasbourg at home is not the easiest of fixtures, but they are kind of, again, mid-table for expected goals conceded. But I think Haaland's a good shout in game week 9. Because Brighton at home, and Brighton are looking defensively shocking at the moment. So I think if you're going to play it in game week 9, you're probably playing it on Haaland. And then the other options are okay. Napoli have Verona away, so you could look at that.
Darmstadt.
Yes, so Appendix.
Yeah, Leipzig play Darmstadt. That's open as an option.
Yeah.
Napoli play Verona. That's an option as well. United play Sheffield United.
Yeah.
And that's
Bruno.
also an option. So that's a couple of options. I think 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the 4 options. Any week you can play your triple, but 11 will be quite tricky because Bayern Munich play Borussia Dortmund, and Arsenal play Man City play Man City play Bournemouth, right? 10,
Yeah, so that's
11.
a Haaland week when they're home to Bournemouth, and then PSG at home to Montpellier, which is all right. It's an all right game. In game week 11,
Leipzig play Mainz as well. So if you are not keen on putting triple on Kane, you can put triple on Openda as well because they play Mainz.
Yeah.
Although it's away.
There's another standout fixture, which is AC Milan against Udinese at home in game week 11. So you could put it on Leao. Udinese are 4th from bottom in expected goals conceded. I will caveat that none of these are factoring in, the strength of the fixtures that they've had to play so far. So for all I know, Udinese had a particularly tough run at the start of the season, but just pointing out that they are 4th bottom for expected goals conceded. So you could look at Leao, Haaland, and maybe Mbappe that week. Dortmund defensively, though, not amazing. So you could look at Kane, I suppose. What else is there? Game week 12, that's a Lautaro Martinez game. Frosinone at home.
Yeah.
Man United have Luton at home. Bruno's a third player option as well.
Napoli has Empoli at home.
Yeah, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia. And then Heidenheim at home for Bayern Munich.
Leipzig has Freiburg at home.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich has who?
Now, Heidenheim.
Bayern Munich has.
Heidenheim have got the worst expected goals conceded in the whole league. They've got an expected goals conceded of 17 from 6 games. That's nearly 3 goals a game. That is a plum fixture for Harry Kane, and one that you should definitely consider, I think, and I might as well consider that. I think Kane, Martinez, Mbappe maybe could be very nice then. They've got Rhyme. How do you say that?
Reims.
Who are not
I think game week
bad.
12. Yeah, game week 12 gives you a lot of options, especially in the forward, because Martinez, then Kane, then Osimhen also has Empoli at home, which is a plum fixture. Leipzig has Freiburg.
AC Milan have Lecce
United
away.
has Luton.
Lecce are third bottom in Serie A for
Arsenal has.
expected goals conceded.
If you own Arsenal players, Arsenal has Burnley at home. Saka can be another option. So Barcelona plays Alaves at home. So Lewandowski can be another option. So game week 12 has 6 to 7 guys that you can put triple, and I think that week might be the week to play triple. If you are not able to get to the players in triple for triple, because if you don't own certain players, you will not be derived of points, because there are 7 to 8 options that you can put for triple triple. So that's quite a few options, unlike other weeks previously. So yeah, I think 12. One should I certainly I am eyeing 12 after talking about it. Gives me the time to do the moves that I want, because I will get 5 moves to bring 3 players, 3 important players that I want to put my captaincy hat on.
Mm.
So that I think is a better, far more better option. But if people own certain players that we talked about in the previous for the previous games, if they own, certainly you could play that. But uh, from my perspective, I don't own any, so I'm targeting 12. Then I have 5 game weeks, 5 transfers for 3 players to bring in. So I will be much more uh, do that, inclined to do that. But if you guys own the likes of Mbappe, Kane, Haaland, Kane, Lewandowski already, then you are saving those moves. One move which I'm not saving. So yeah, you could play earlier as well.
So yeah, this is where my head's at now. The more I think about this, Mbappe, all his games are kind of middling. He doesn't have any really plum fixtures. So I guess I've got 2 options. I've got play it in maybe game week 12 on him and Kane and Leao, maybe whichever third one I fancy. There's lots of good third player options that week. AC Milan, so like Leao, Martinez, Bruno, or maybe game week 9, and selling. If maybe I could sell Mbappe for Haaland and target the Brighton at home game, and have Kane against against Mainz, Haaland against Brighton, and then one other who could be a Leipzig player, who could be a Napoli player. I think if I was to choose now, I'd choose 12 though. 12 has so many good fixtures in it, and I think that's probably the one. I think I'm with you on that. Cool. Anything else you'd like to discuss at this point, or should we move on to our teams for next week?
Uh, yeah, I'm just checking the website that have I missed any injury players that we haven't talked about. David Alaba is a question for, is it out for Real Madrid, that we haven't talked about. In terms of Atletico Madrid, a lot of people are out. Depay is out, don't know when he's coming back. Savic is a doubt. So I think Morata is back. Should be back. He got
Yeah,
one.
Morata's back. Yeah, Morata's playing.
Morata is back, and I think Lenormand of Sociedad is a doubt, but we don't know much about him. Tierney is out, so Munoz
Of course he is.
gets an extended run in the team.
Yeah.
That's it. I think. Yeah, I think basically we've covered everything in terms of Rafinha is out, along with Pedri for Barcelona. So I think more of uh, Yamal should be, those who own Yamal, he should be playing for the time being until Rafinha gets back. I think he got the red card or injury, something like that. So yeah, yeah. Let's move on to our teams. Nothing much to be talked about. Everything we talked about.
Nice. Cool. So your team is on the screen. What are your early thoughts here?
Yeah, the only one transfer I'm doing is Haaland to Mbappe. There's nothing more to look forward, because I just overhauled it. I have looked at the fixtures while overhauling it, so I'm not doing anything. I think when I tweeted it out this weekend, I said that Mbappe is coming in. if not this week, by the time next week hits, because every week he starts, he will get those goals. It's if Asensio was fit, then he could have been another option. I might double up on him as well from PSG, but I don't know when Asensio is coming back. So yeah, I'm definitely getting Mbappe. Also, to the fact that I have to plan for triple triple as well. For 12, I wasn't decided on which week, but now I'm certain that I will be playing on game week 12 last week for this set of boosts. So yeah, Haaland for Mbappe is coming in. He will definitely captain the side. Kavicha will be my vice because Napoli has Fiorentina at home. Fiorentina is not keeping clean sheets, but it might change because I think Dortmund, not Dortmund, I think Barcelona play Sociedad, right? No, Atletico Madrid. Barcelona play Granada.
Yeah.
So might put my vice on João Felix, and I think, yeah, I think so. That's my team. I think Sommer in goal, Rom, Cancelo, Gosens are my back three. Gosens might be. I might start the other defender that I have. So the midfield four is Simmons, Vinny, Gordon, and Kavicha. Front three will be Mbappe, Felix, and Malan. I think Dortmund will be scoring. Dortmund really has started slow in terms of goal scoring. Should up their game because they had a nice run of it. I think they face Bayern, right? Yeah, so maybe not. No, they face Union, then Burnley, then Bayern. I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Dortmund should be fine. So I think Milan should be fine. But uh, I am keen on getting Openda as well. So if I tend to if I don't take a -4, then I think Felix to Openda might be an option as well.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, I think that's my team.
Okay, my team. I'm pretty certain I'm going to take another -4 this week. And it's one of them's going to be selling Davis. Now, Raum seems like the no-brainer transfer in, and that gives me enough money to upgrade like Baronet Sayer to Kubo or Alberto to someone. It gives me 1.6 million to play with. But I think it's the thing is that's my obvious weakness, my fourth midfielder at the moment. But I think it makes more sense for me to sell João Felix, and I can afford a Pender if I do that. But I can't afford Lautaro Martinez. So I need to decide which forward I want. If I want Lautaro Martinez, I would have to pick a 4.5 million defender or lower. So I could go all the way down to like an Assignon and have him as back as a bench fodder. Assignon, by the way, ever since I sold him on my overhaul, he's gone and got like 16 points, 9 points. And he won a pen at the weekend.
Yep.
It's like, what are you playing at, man? Scoring all these points after I sold him on overhaul. He got like a goal and an assist in game week 5. I was like, come on. Anyway, and that was in a tough fixture as well. So yeah, I think if I was to pick right now, I would bring in Raum and the Pender. But we'll see. It means I'm going to have to either play 4 defenders or Alberto or Baronetsa. So that's not ideal, but I think Felix is. Those are my weaknesses. My weaknesses are my fourth midfielder and my third forward, and I can certainly address one of those. I think the upside is much better by selling Felix than whichever player I bring in for Alberto or Baronetsa. So that's the thinking, but we'll see. Captaincy. Not sure, to be honest, at this moment in time. I need to have a look at some of the numbers, I think. But obviously, standout fixtures are Leao against Genoa, Leipzig. So if I bring in a Pender, then a Pender's certainly a good option. And then obviously Kane and Mbappe. So they're obviously good captaincy options too. So I'll have a think about that. I'm not sure. Obviously, we've got Champions League as well. So who knows? Maybe we'll pick up injuries in our teams in this week that will inform our decisions. So yeah. I'm going to bring up David's team as well. Obviously, we don't know what his thoughts are, but is currently set up. Ramiro, Dumfries, Thiaw, Traore, Bellingham, Yamal, Leao, Alberto, Haaland, Felix, Osimhen. So I think he's got similar weaknesses to me in that he's currently got Yamal and Alberto in his midfield, and João Felix too. So I mean, Felix isn't awful. That's the thing. He's not awful, but he does get subbed at 70 minutes every game. And Barcelona are not doing amazing for goals at the minute. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's addressing one of those midfielders or João Felix. Cool. All right, that brings us to the end of the episode. Have you got anything to add?
Yeah, I think just a little bit of update on the Globetrotters Cup. This the Super League that we are running. I think the top 8 in our league all scored 100+ points, and we're not on a boost. So kudos to all the top 8 persons. Just wanna shout out the Twitter handles. Those who have, I think, the leader is NFFC underscore FPL. Derby sinking ship. I don't know whoever he is. He's our top. He has a point haul of 828. He scored 142 this week. He has so really nice 142 minus 4 he had. Then David Hurst is on second place. He scored 121. James Gyro 61. He scored 110. 456 are Chris Ryan and Jan Hedstrom. I think Jan Hedstrom is a close friend of David. I'm not sure, but
Are you saying that because it's a Scandinavian
that-
name?
yeah. No, along with that, Strom is on his name as well. So I'm sure he's either his friend or relative. Some
Cousin.
more
David's
on
just
this
friends with
David
anyone
comes back now.
Scandinavian, basically. So obviously.
Yeah. So they scored 106, 104, and 118 points. Then Nelly BC, I think he's a Blackburn supporter. He's on 7th with 111. 111 he scored this week, 739 points overall. Then Billy Hadaway, our good friend, he also scored 120 points without any boost. He has a total overall score of 738. And 9th, we have John Chander 93. We know from Twitter him. He's also he scored 93 points without a boost, close to 100. Overall 736. I'm not getting the number 10th guy. Who is the number 10th guy in our league? Are you
I've not got it up, sorry.
So
Doesn't matter.
it's a bit weird why I'm not getting it got propped up. So yeah, so those are the top 9s in our Globetrotters Cup. We haven't had an update since ages, so just a little bit of a podcast thing that we have to do. So yeah, that's the Globetrotters Cup highlights. And what to talk? Yeah, all that jazz. Like, share, subscribe, give the stars on our Spotify page, and try to subscribe to our Spotify channel as well. It really helps because we are getting we are getting audio listeners 100+, but we are not yet subscribed to 100. Not yet reached 100 subscribers. So whoever listens to us, do hit the subscribe button on the Spotify page as well. It really helps.
Yeah, and just add to that,
Yeah,
just
that's it.
thank you all for your continued engagement with the pod so far this season. I mean, we've managed to keep up a streak of having over 100 views on YouTube per video for every single video so far this season, even though our last Gaffr Championship video that we did last week has only just tipped over 101 views. But I think we at the start of last season we had a good start and we had some good views at the start of the season, but it quite quickly dropped off, and this season's been better for kind of continued engagement, and every single pod kind of having somewhere between 100 and 200 views since the season began. So yeah, thanks for doing that. It makes it worthwhile that we know people are actually engaging with the content and watching and listening. So so yeah, it's all good. So yeah, if that's everything, we will be back next week, probably for a championship video. It will be international break, and we will have had another 3 game weeks to digest if we're counting this weekend, obviously, and the midweek round and next weekend's round. So that's when we'll be back at some point in the international break. And that aside, yeah, I hope you all have a good week. Enjoy the Champions League. Enjoy the midweek championship games. I'm just assuming that everyone who plays Super League plays the championship game as well. So yeah, and take care. We'll see you soon. So it's goodbye from me.
And namaste from me.